Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dental Disruptors podcast. My name's Jake Larson, your host. I got my co-host Clint Berry here with us as well. And today we are super excited to have who I would refer to as like one of our new best friends because she's actually moving to come live by us. Sarah Ruberg, she's amazing, currently in Tampa, coming here shortly, so maybe we'll have her on again in the future. But Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. It's going to be exciting to learn from you.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to be in Utah soon. So
let's go. Yeah, the dental industry is a small world. As soon as we started talking to Sarah, she knew this person and knew this person, and we're like, oh, they're just down the street from us and everything. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But today our episode is about helping build branding that breaks through, how dental startups can win on LinkedIn and connect with DSOs. And if there's, I don't know if there's anyone in the industry that's better at this than Sarah. How I first got connected with Sarah was just through a networking group. She gave a little presentation on this exact topic, and the notes that I was taking was getting so long. There were so many good points. So we're excited to be able to share some of those things with our audience today. So let's start, Sarah. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself. You've got a lot of things going on with having done DentMent, our Thrive Tribe, your own personal brand. So give us a quick introduction of yourself and how you got into this and what you're doing right now with our Thrive Tribe.
absolutely. I know it's a mouthful. I don't know why I named it that. Like every time I even write out my email, I'm like, oh, Sarah, like you really should have made your name like a little bit easier. So stay tuned. We may rebrand in the future, but thank you guys so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, especially because a lot of the people that you guys talk to are startups, and there's one piece of advice I have to give all of them. Once you get into dental, you do not leave. Like you can try. So I never ever thought I would be in dental. I actually graduated college and was an event planner. So I know how to have a good time and plan a good time. It was nights, weekends. It was too much for me. And my career consultant was like, you should go into relationship management. And I thought, what in the world is that? So I'm dating myself, and I took my little index fingers and went to Indeed, and I looked at relationship managers, and I got a job as an account manager at a dental marketing company. And I've been in dental ever since. I did specialized marketing for oral surgeons and periodontists and specialists. I worked at the DEO, which is where I really got my footprint in an understanding of the DSO space. I went to work at another dental marketing company who specifically wanted to target DSOs. And I thought, we should use social media. This was right at the cusp of COVID. Everybody was so wanting to connect with individuals because we were all at home by ourselves or with our families. And once I saw how well social media worked, I decided to start my own company and be able to help industry partners in the space get to build their corporate and personal brands. And so we do a lot of organic social media and marketing for industry partners who really want to get in front of DSOs. And I couldn't even imagine not being in the dental space. I love it so much.
I wonder why that happens. So, because we got out of dental for a little bit, and we came right back. I think we made it like a few months, and then it was like, we just know this space so well. It's a good space.
It is.
And we came right back. So
and it's big, but it's also so small, you know?
Yeah.
That's
biggest
so true.
Small business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the people are good, the network is good, the opportunity is good. It's a great place to be.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
For all you startups out there starting in dental, you picked the right spot, and you've got a phenomenal expert here that's going to give you some amazing tips and tricks to start to build your brand on LinkedIn and other social platforms. So if you don't currently follow Sarah on LinkedIn, one of my best pieces of advice as we dive into this is go follow her, because you will see everything that she's going to talk about in the real world. Her brand, her profile, her posts, all of those things are phenomenal. So do that. Stop right now, pause, go follow Sarah. But let's talk about the method that she kind of implements that helps build the brand. So let's talk about first, Sarah, just the power of an intentional LinkedIn presence. I think a lot of people, they feel this need or a desire like, hey, I want to start to engage with people on LinkedIn, and they don't know where to start. It's not intentional. They just kind of start doing random things. But what have you seen in your experience? What is the power of having an intentional LinkedIn presence when it comes to building your brand?
It's interesting. I actually had this conversation this morning with somebody who I had encouraged to utilize LinkedIn more. And we talked about strategy for developing your personal brand, which I'm sure we'll get into. But it's funny, he sent me a screenshot today of a company that had reached out to him on LinkedIn and was like, hey, I really love seeing what you're doing, and I'd be really interested to talk with you. All because of the things that he's posting on LinkedIn. And it's the CEO of this company. I was like, bro, this dude's going to offer you a job. Let's just be honest. Or maybe ask you to train his sales team or something like that, or whatever it could be. But I've seen it work. 100 location DSO reached out to me on LinkedIn. The CEO, first of all, I looked at his profile and he looked like a ghost, and his name was Vito. Shout out to Vito. I love you. But I was like, is there a hit out on me? Is there a pair of cement boots that are waiting for me next to this lake? And it wasn't. He was like, I'd really love for you to work on our corporate brand. And I worked with them for a little over a year. And so it's just interesting. Our network, our community is on LinkedIn, whether they look like it or not. They're there. And we want to know. We're such a nosy industry. We want to know and trust who we work with. And so why not be on the platform that we utilize the most?
I love that. And I think, Jake, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when we started doing just very basic LinkedIn stuff, I was pretty skeptical.
He was very skeptical.
See a lot. I don't see a ton of dentists on LinkedIn. I don't see a lot. I didn't see a ton of content, and maybe I just wasn't in the right circles. But it ended up being exactly what you said. I think there's a lot of lurkers that are watching content. We had got a huge deal from a blog post that we posted on LinkedIn, and a large DSO reached out to us on LinkedIn cold because of something we posted. And I was like, oh my gosh, this can work.
They're there for sure. And it starts with, and I call them creepers. I like that, lurkers, or if the proper term is the silent community, but they, and even after not working with them because they now have internal marketing, we'll see each other at a conference, and he's like, hey, I saw that time that you went kayaking and that person's dog jumped in your kayak and licked your face. And I'm like, all you have to do is just press my friend. Just even act like you exist. So it's so funny. They look at it all the time, but they just, and I think there's a large fear. Most people, when they approach me about building their personal brand, the number one thing they say to me is, I do not want to promote myself. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm like, cool, then don't. There's so many other ways that you can build your brand and say a lot about yourself without saying anything about yourself.
Oh, I like that. Can we dive in a little bit more on that? Because I hate self-promotion. So what's your strategy there if you're not promoting yourself? How do you approach your strategy on LinkedIn if it's not that?
Do you read books, Clint?
Yes.
Personal development, fiction, what kind of books do you read?
Usually business books. Yeah.
Oh. Is there one that you're reading right now that you really like, or one that stands out to you that above and beyond you always go back to or think about that's had an impact on your life?
The one I'm reading again right now is The Cold Start Problem. I think that's a good one. It's just a network effect one. One that I go back to is that Dysfunctions of a Team book. I love that one. I think that really identified how executives need to work together better. So that's another one.
So if you were reading something on LinkedIn about Joe Schmo, and Joe was like, I really like this book and this is why, wouldn't that kind of say something about him if he's like, I like Simon Sinek, or if he's like, I like Gary Vee? If somebody says that they like Gary Vee, they probably themselves cuss like a sailor, right? So you can kind of gather those kinds of things, but they're not saying in their post that they cuss like a sailor. Or if somebody says, I really like hiking. Wow, that person is probably like really adventurous. And so even talking about that book and how you're started at Weave, like all of these things, you've all of this experience, and that in itself could tell somebody a lot about you. If you simply are saying, I really like this book and this is why, or this is what it's taught me in business. So talking about a book, I encourage people, if you go to conferences and you meet somebody that really like impacted you, take a picture with them and post that on LinkedIn. I met Eric, or I spent time with Eric Roman, and Eric Roman simply told me to move to Utah, and guess what? Now I'm moving to Utah. Thanks, Eric, for, you and your man bun convincing me to move to Utah. Very simply, our industry really loves. Actually, the way I understood that LinkedIn was the place to be was when I first started my business. A lot of industry partners were really generous with their time. And believe it or not, I knew people, but not well enough to ask them comfortably to spend time talking to me. And so when they did, I was so thankful. I had 1 week where I had like 15 meetings. And at the end of the week, I thought, I feel like I won some kind of an award. How did I get so lucky that all of these people were so nice to spend time with me? So I wrote my version of an acceptance speech, and I tagged each one of them with what I learned from them or what really resonated with me in that call. And that was what started my entire career on LinkedIn, because so many people loved it. And then they reached out to those people. Margaret, I heard that, Sarah learned this from you. I want to talk to you. Cassie, I hear that Sarah learned. And so we really love to see each other lift each other up. So posting about somebody that you met and that really resonated with you, or event posts are absolutely ridiculously successful. So if you guys go to a conference, anybody who's going to a conference, y'all better post about it, because we love to know. I think out of the last 365 days, and I post 5 days a week, my 4th highest performing engaging post is of me saying I'm going to Dykema last year.
Wow.
Everyone's like, I'm going. Who else is going? We can't wait to see you. And
and they all just like piggyback off of each other.
Yep. People are starting to post them right now too, and they're all performing really well. And for any startups or anyone who's like, I don't know who's going, the comments section is a great way to figure out what DSOs are going or what industry partners are going, because they're all saying that. So you can also like engage with their content and then reach out to them on LinkedIn. Pro tip.
Okay. This is fascinating to me. I think this definitely, like this sharing approach, I think is a little bit easier for me. I think in some cases it is still hard for me, because I'm like, no one cares what I'm doing. But what you're saying to me is there are people who care, like, or that might be interested in it. Is that what I'm hearing?
1000%. And when people, I think this is what makes me so passionate about this. In addition to people telling me that they don't know what to post, or they don't want to promote themselves, people will say to me, I don't have anything important or interesting to say, Sarah. To which I say, horse manure. Everybody has something important to say. And if it could be anything, like it could be one person that you impact with maybe something that you've gone through, but even having impact on that one person, that's a big deal. And I know it's not easy, and I post a lot. I was telling Jake, I have a heart tattoo on my wrist. I literally wear my heart on my sleeve, so I'm not telling anybody that you have to be like me and talk about your struggles and things like that, although that does really resonate with people, because we're all struggling, right? Everybody is struggling. And you can really humanize yourself when you tell people that, and then it's relatable. That's what we all are looking for. Who do we relate to? We want to like, know, and trust who we work with. So, and if you say things on LinkedIn that are not you, I'm sure you guys have experienced this. Mm-hmm. Do you ever follow someone on social and then you meet them in person, or even you hear a news story about them and it's like, that's not that's not how they portray themselves on social media.
Absolutely.
That's definitely do not do that. The DSO space, we do not like that. Don't be salesy and don't be fake.
Yeah.
It's like the fastest way to like see yourself out the door.
So Sarah, what do you think about?
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go Clint. Go. You go first.
Well, I was just going to say maybe I'll share something that I do today, but I'm going to tag Sarah on it because Sarah told me to share this.
There you go. It's going to help you kind of break out of the discomfort, Clint.
Yeah.
You need to share also, though, like take a picture of us on the podcast and share it with that. So also pro tip, a lot of people will share like graphics with words. Nobody likes it. You guys, I could share the winning lotto numbers. Nobody will care. However, if it's a picture of me holding the winning lotto numbers, then everybody pays attention. So all of my top performing posts, it has to be a picture. So I know people are like, I don't want to take selfies. Get over it. Selfies, pictures with people at conferences, like it has to have a picture of you. We're a nosy industry.
So this is one of my pet peeves with people that try to sell me something personally on LinkedIn, and the term that I use is they feel like leeches. Like all they want is something to benefit themselves, and it's like a huge turnoff immediately. So in my mind, as Clint and I have gotten into our own individual LinkedIn journey with Kala, I wanted to find ways to shift from trying to sell, but instead trying to just bring value to the industry in any way that we could. Whether that was, that's where the idea for this podcast came up. It was like, hey, we've got some experience. We know people. We can bring knowledge and information and share with other people, and hopefully it benefits them. We launched an award, an industry award that we call the Top Ops Leaders in Dental. So trying to promote, like give an avenue for operational leaders to get some recognition, because oftentimes it's clinical or at the group level that those people get the love. But the RCM leaders and the people staying up late going through all the data are not getting any recognition. So we wanted to find some ways to give back to the industry and obviously that builds brand awareness and things like that. But in your experience, what would you say to kind of that mind shift that we've had? Is that a good thing? Are these good, a good direction that we're going? This idea of like shifting from selling to sharing and like giving back. What's been your experience with that?
One of my favorite books is The Go-Giver. It was a gifted to me by my boss, one of my bosses at the DEO, Darren Acapon, also the man responsible for giving me my industry nickname of Sarah Sparkles. And I loved that book so much because it's give to give, not to receive. And so our industry, going from, I would like to believe that we're more collaborative than we are competitive. There are certainly those, those relationships out there where competition is a little bit more prevalent, but we also like to say that we have an abundance mindset. And so I like to recommend to create DIY content just like that. Tell people how to do for themselves what they could hire you to do for them. Now, are they going to build integrations for their DSO, for a practice management software? Probably not. But what you can do is say, hey, if this is something that you're looking for, here's some questions that you should make sure that you ask whatever company it is that you're talking to, whether it's us, whether it's somebody else. These are these questions, because then what people think is, and it can come from your company page, but I will also say this, if you're building a corporate brand, that's great. If you do not have a face to your company, a Clint or a Jake that are also posting on LinkedIn, your growth is going to be very slow. We resonate more with people. So you can post that content. And what happens is people are like, Jake is telling me that I don't have to work with them specifically. He's giving me guidance on my journey as a whole. I trust Jake. Plus, these are some really great questions that I didn't even think about. I'm going to follow Jake. okay, I did these things and I learned XYZ. What else does Jake have to say? Ooh, that next thing that Jake tells me to do by myself, that's a little hard. Jake is clearly an expert. I'm going to go talk to him and ask him either his opinion or ask him or want to work with them. And so that's how you build trust with people, because if they could do it themselves, then they probably wouldn't have been a good client to begin with, really. But they can also say to another person, hey, I did this myself. I know you can't do it for yourself, and I follow Jake. You've got to go talk to them. So give to give, not to receive, and it's worked. I mean, as far as for myself, our company, our clients, and that's what really resonates. Because yes, nobody likes to feel sold to, and you can smell that a mile away.
Absolutely.
So yes,
that.
A+. You're doing it great.
Give to give.
Yeah. What was the name of that book again?
Go Giver.
The Go Giver.
It's a short read. It's actually it's a fictional story, but which I've now recently determined. I was like, fiction, I don't like it. I only like personal development, but I've now come to realize that I like personal development told through like fictional stories. It's such a great book. I love it so much.
That's awesome.
Love it. Okay, so and I didn't mean to divert specifically to Kala, but let's rewind a little bit here. I want to just focus on the nitty gritty for our audience, and let's talk about just like the quick tips, the hacks. You mentioned a couple of them that we can, the taking pictures of the lotto numbers. That's I'm thinking through the posts that I engage with, and I'm like, yeah, that's really true. Like you're just drawn more to people rather than graphs. But what are some of the tips and things that you would recommend that people wanting to build an intentional strategy should really begin with and focus on?
To kind of go back to the beginning, because I know we talked about this, that there's like a lot of startups who are trying to get into the dental industry. And I just want to say to anybody who's in that situation, I talk to a lot of them myself, and they're like, well, we've done this in the vet space or the optometry space, or we've done it in other spaces, and we want to bring it to dental. You have to create dental specific content. Our industry wants to feel heard and understood and important, especially if you're working with DSOs. I think this might be a controversial statement, but I do know I have a lot of friends that work at DSOs, and they want to feel like you only have eyes for them. So if your content is like, we do this in this space, this space, this space, we don't care. We want to know that you understand us. And I also say dental is a lot different, and I'm sure every other industry says the same thing, but it's true. The dental industry, we're unique in our own way. Again, we're big, but we're small. So make sure that you have dental specific content and that you're not super, super salesy. And before you spend like a ton of money on marketing, start to build your personal brand. You would be shocked at how quickly people can reach out to you just by you sharing more about yourselves, more about being new in the dental space. We're a new company. What kinds of events should we go to? Like, we love to help people to do that. So I guess just make sure you understand that we're a unique industry in the way that we want to be sold to or, communicated with.
Yeah, engaged with.
Yes, thank you. Because we don't want to feel like we're sold to. But making sure that you take the pictures, making sure that you realize and understand that LinkedIn is a really great place to be. When people ask me, how do I grow in the DSO space? There's 3 things I recommend. Growing a corporate brand, because you can be a little bit more salesy, have some CTAs or call to actions in your corporate brand. Build your personal brand, and that's really about you. You can certainly talk about, in building my company, we did this, but I hardly ever, maybe once in a year, I actually mention my company name in a post. It's really more about me and my journey, but you also have to go to events. I'm sure you guys have gone, where there's this circle of like our ride or dies. You see all the same people at the same conferences, and whether you want to work with industry partners or DSOs, having those strategic partnerships with other vendors is so crucial because they're your boots on the ground. if they're at a practice and they're talking about what it is that they're doing, and the practice manager or the VP of ops or CEO is like, ugh, we have this marketing company that we're working with, but it stinks and we don't like it. Then you could be like, oh, well, have you ever talked to XYZ over at this marketing company? They're great, because we love to refer people. So I know those are some like initial pro tips for me, but making sure that you take pictures, being authentic. Oh, please do not be fake. We do not like that. And it has to be meaningful. I think people struggle, because I was talking to Eileen Day from DVIN, and she's like, there's just too many these days of like, I proposed to my girlfriend this weekend and this is what it taught me about business. And it's like, no, you can't
so
do
true.
that. It's so true. And so if you really want to stand out, at the end of your post, when you're creating it, I like to ask myself, what do I want people to walk away from this feeling or thinking? That they should be more comfortable being themselves, that they have something important to say. Like, ask yourself at the end, what's the valuable thing that I want people to walk away with? And if you can't think of anything, honey, you should not be posting it.
Yeah.
Rewrite it.
Yeah, because it reeks of just trying to get that leechy feeling. You're just trying to get something for yourself, right? Like, if you're not bringing value to other people, then you're only bringing value to yourself.
Yeah.
Or trying to, at least.
Exactly. We don't like that.
Fascinating. Awesome. So cool. Okay. Let's see. I want to make sure that we... so here's some other questions I want to ask you, Sarah. So as far as people getting started, I know a lot of people have questions about how often they should post, what's too much, when is commenting too salesy, right? When you're not like bringing any value to the comment section. Give us some best practices as far as what people should do as far as frequency and how often and when they should engage with people.
Great question, because I know that can be really overwhelming to people, especially when I'm like, I post 5 days a week. Like, do not think that you have to do that. And it doesn't necessarily matter how frequently, it's how consistent. And so if you feel comfortable posting once a week, then post once a week. And you bring up a really good point about commenting. Content, very important. The engagement, just as, if not more, important. So I call it outward engagement. And what that means is scrolling through your LinkedIn feed and identifying people who could be potential partners or people that are interesting to you in the dental space and engaging with their content. Not a like, not just a reaction, not just a cool, congrats, a meaningful comment. And this is also kind of, I believe, controversial. I feel like it should be 80-20. 80% of your comments should be, wow, that's really, it could be, wow, that's really great. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing. I learned XYZ. A lot of these DSOs are like, we're opening a new location. Sage just opened a new location in Carrollwood here in Tampa. And I'm like, oh, that's so fun. That's not far from me. Those are hard to be more meaningful, but it's great to comment on those. So that could be wow, that's awesome. You guys are growing so fast. Congratulations. So those can be like your less meaningful ones. And the reason that engagement is so important, there are conferences going on right now, but we're kind of in a lull, right? Like the DEO is coming up. There, you have to be a speaker, sponsor, or a member. So not everybody is going to that. Florida Dental Association is having theirs here. Not everybody goes. Engaging in the comments is like continuing to make yourself relevant in between all of these conferences. And after doing it for a while, so I encourage to do 3 to 5 engagements per day. You would be shocked. You'll meet somebody in person, like, I see you everywhere on LinkedIn, because the comment section is kind of like the happy hour at an event. Really, people literally will go through and say, okay, I see that Sarah's commenting on this. The way that Sarah's commenting is that she actually knows the person who they must have I like to include a lot of inside jokes. And so people she clearly knows that person. Okay, so who is that person? Because I like Sarah, and if Sarah likes this person, it's like college. It's like my sorority days, you guys. And I kid you not. People have reached out to me and said, I see you in a picture with all of my friends. I don't know you, but if all my friends like you, I want to meet you. I mean, I can't make this up. And I know there's a lot of people in the industry that it's happened to as well. So the comment section, and as I tell everybody, it's free. Lay in bed at night in your satin pajamas. If you do not have some, go get some. You lay there with your coffee, wine, water, champagne, my personal drink of choice, and you can network for free in bed. And you can like make yourself relevant. And then people are like, oh my gosh, I see you everywhere, all over LinkedIn. Like I've heard it time and time again. So it's a great place to start, especially if you're a startup. It's free. I know it takes time. So 1 post a week, 3 to 5 times a day to engage. Posting by itself is not going to work. You have to engage with the industry. And recently, we have KPIs in our company, so making sure that we increase our clients' follower counts. Corporate pages, we aim to grow by 3% per month. Personal profiles, 5% per month. I highly recommend having LinkedIn Premium. # not sponsored. And it's like $75 a month. You can see everybody who's looked at your profile for the last 90 days, make sure who's looking at you is like relevant in the space so that you make sure that your content and you're engaging with the right people. There's a section to where it can say, it says based upon your recent activity, and start sending connection requests. I think you can send a maximum of like 100 per week. And so start to do that. I personally, I look for people that I have 100 mutual connections with or more. So I'm a little bougie and snotty, and I'm like, if we don't have at least 100, like, who are you even? I know that's like really snotty, but just to kind of give people an idea, we actually had a webinar yesterday, and one of my team members was like, if you don't have at least 500 connections in common with Sarah, what are you even doing? And I was like, okay, that's a lot.
500 is a lot, but 100.
That is a lot. But
I'm going to have to look that up after, because I doubt I have 100 in common with you.
You're going to be surprised, Clint. She is very well connected.
No, it's me that's not connected. It's not Sarah.
It's easy to, and you can even look at like who I'm connected with, or who's engaging on other people's content. If they're a second connection, connect with them. And if you are going to send cold messages, make sure to court them in the comments first. It lowers that barrier of entry, or it could, so that if you do in a week or two send them a message, they're like, Clint, that name sounds really familiar. Oh yeah, I've seen him engaging on my content. I must know him. So if you think that you're going to just post some stuff on LinkedIn and then send cold messages, oh my friend, you have another thing coming. Like, we don't like that at all.
Guys, I've got good news. Sarah and I have 107 mutual connections.
You made it by 7. Clint.
I passed the threshold. I'm going to go ahead and click the connect button.
How funny. Then I will certainly accept it. But Clint, we have a long ways to go. I think Brian Kaleo and I have like 2,500, might even be like 3,000 mutual connections. There's a lot of people in our industry.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Clint, I love that yours was just barely over 100.
I know, I barely crossed the threshold. I'm making
it would have
sure
been
to put that in my
questionable.
comment.
You're close. Awesome. Well, Sarah, this is such great advice. Like, some of these things, I'm like, well, duh. Like, it makes so much sense, but at the same time, people, don't do it or don't see it. And I really appreciate you taking the time with us today to share this. Super helpful. So, my last question for you is just a quick encouragement for listeners. Give us just a quick little spiel on why this is so important for not just the startups, but everybody inside of dental to incorporate this as part of their brand strategy.
I believe that the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of our relationships. And in order to have powerful, meaningful, lasting relationships, you have to be able to understand other people. But before you can even begin to think that you understand other people, you have to be able to understand yourself. And so to me, personal branding. And one of the reasons why I love what I do so much is that I get to help people look in the mirror after they've said to me, I don't have anything important to say, Sarah. And I'm like, yes, you do. So I think not only is this important for them to further their business, but to help them have better relationships, build that relational equity with other people in the industry or their clients. And have better relationships in general. So I think it's really and helping each other, having a positive impact. That one thing that you might think that you're the only person that's going through, you're not. And by you being brave to say something about it might help other people. So maybe selfishly to me, I think it's important for everybody, one, to realize that they have something important to say. And once you do and you say it without thinking that you need to get something in return for it, you do. Whether it's impact, whether it's a new client, whether it's feeling better about yourself. So aside from getting new clients, I just think it's something great to reflect on ourselves and understand ourselves better. Talk about like a woo-woo answer, right? That was like, sorry.
No, it sounded like it was like to what Clint's first comments were originally. Like, Clint, you got something important to say. Let's go. Just share it.
So I still am not convinced I have anything important to say, but this is great because I don't know, this actually does open it up for me to feel a little bit better about posting. So I think this is going to change me. Hopefully it changes our listeners too, because I know I'm an engineer by trade, and I think that in some cases makes me a little bit more cynical about this type of stuff. And a lot of these customers, these startups, like we deal with a lot of artificial intelligence startups, right? With MIT grads and like very serious engineers. And I know a lot of them don't feel comfortable sharing or self-promoting. And so I think this is going to be one that I want to share this episode with a lot of these startup founders that are highly technical, to be like, look, Sarah's telling you that you can have an impact on people's lives by sharing. Just documenting you building your business, I think could be super beneficial for all the other people going through it. So this is so great. Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Although I will say, sure, could I have an impact? But I think what would be more impactful to them, Clint, is you posting however you feel comfortable saying, I'm an engineer by trade. I don't want to do this. And I talked to this person, or I've seen this, and I now recognize that it is important to do this because they would much rather listen to you and relate to you. I'm not an engineer. I barely know how to spell the dang word, So like I do. I can spell engineer. Although my boss at the DEO was like, you cannot be an entrepreneur unless you can spell it. And I was like, crap, I better I always spell it wrong. I'm like, I always forget. But it would resonate more coming from you because they would relate more to you.
Okay. I like that. This is perfect. That's perfect advice.
Good. Sarah, you are amazing. Thank you so much for taking time with us. We're so pumped that you're coming to Utah. We are definitely going to lunch or something when you get here. Make sure you hit us up, okay?
Absolutely. Waterfalls. Your wife's got to take me to some waterfalls. I'm ready.
She knows them all. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Make sure that you follow Sarah on LinkedIn. She has amazing content. Like and subscribe to our stuff as well. And we'll talk to you on our next episode. Thanks so much, everybody. See ya. Bye.
Bye.